Welcome to the Fit Life for Busy Parents podcast. My name is Coach Cam. I'm so excited to be here with you. And our mission here is simple. We want to empower you as busy parents or adults to be able to achieve your fitness goals through simple and easy strategies to follow. Okay, so we are here on episode 2. I love the fact that our first one did so well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, listening, sharing all your thoughts and your comments. It really makes a huge difference. And I'm super excited to see how we do on episode 2. But today's topic is going to be how exactly do we keep ourselves motivated on our fitness journey, right? How often have we heard this? I really want to be able to lose weight or gain muscle or whatever it is, but I just don't have the motivation right now. I have too much going on. I don't feel inspired. I don't feel ready to go on this journey, right? And all of those are valid feelings. I'm not disproving those, right? I'm not saying that those are wrong. But motivation comes and goes, right? It's a feeling, just like happiness, just like anger, just like sadness, right? It's going to come and it's going to go. So, how exactly do we be able to get to the point of feeling motivated and then be able to lock that in, right? That's the thing that we need to be able to do so we can stay consistent on this fitness goal, right? So, the first thing that I do for myself and for all of my clients is setting up the true goal. What exactly are you looking to achieve, right? Because if you say things like, I want to lose weight, but I also want to gain muscle, well, those things kind of have some conflicting values. You can do both to an extent, but one requires more of being in a calorie deficit, right? Where the other requires that we have a good amount of energy to be able to push in the gym, right? Be able to build that muscle, rip that muscle, and be able to rebuild it. So we got to really establish what is our true goal? What is the main thing that we want to achieve here? And how exactly do we go about doing that, right? And that's really where I think a lot of people get thrown off track is that they'll have a goal, right? Let's say weight loss. Okay. And that's their goal is I want to lose weight. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to lose 30 pounds, whatever it is. But what they end up doing doesn't match that strategy, the actual goal, right? What their strategy is doesn't make sense for their goal. And then they get frustrated, right? They're going to the gym, let's say, and they're working out all the time and they're doing all this heavy lifting and this, that, and the other. And they want to lose weight, but then they're like, well, I'm losing weight, but it's not that quick. It's very, very slow. Like I'm gaining some muscle, which is nice, but I'm not losing the weight. The scale's not going down, right? And then they become frustrated, they lose the motivation, and then they start to fall off track, right? So that's why it's so important to make sure our goal is very, very clear and that the strategy goes along with that goal because we got to figure out what exactly is going to keep us motivated, right? Meaning results, right? Meaning we're getting in the right direction, we're feeling the outcome that we want that's going to keep us motivated so we continue to show up, right? And if we don't have that, we're not going to feel that way. We're going to lose the motivation. We're going to stop completely. And that's what we want to avoid. So, number one, make sure that your goal is super clear. You know what it is. And then from there, I guess like 1B would be actually making sure that the strategy, right? The thing that we are doing to reach this goal makes sense for the goal and doesn't make sense for some other goal that isn't actually what you want, right? So that's number one. Number two is actually really, really important, and it's establishing why we are doing this. Why is this a non-negotiable in your life? Why is this goal so important, right? And we can have very superficial goals of like, I want to lose weight. Why? Well, I want to be able to take off my shirt, right? I want to be able to, do this, that, and the other. But I challenge you to dig deeper, right? Why do you want to take off your shirt, right? If you want to go to the beach and take off your shirt, what is going to happen when you take off your shirt? What are you going to feel? How are you like? What is that moment going to be like for you? Oh, well, I'm going to feel confident and I'm going to have, my chest kind of pushed out, my shoulders back. Maybe for guys, women are going to be looking at me, right? I'm going to be able to really have that confidence, that self belief. I'm going to feel accomplished. I'm going to be able to do something I've never done before, right? So then you could look at it and be like, okay, so then the why is that you want that confidence, right? You want that self belief. You want to accomplish something that maybe you've never been able to accomplish, or something that people have told you you'll never be able to accomplish, or maybe even you told yourself that you'd never be able to accomplish. And you want to make sure that that happens once and for all. Maybe, like me, we talked about in episode 1, I was hiding behind my extra weight, right? I was not truly who I felt like I was on the inside, on the outside, because of the fact that I felt like I needed to hide behind this. I didn't have the confidence, right? So things like that, right? So I could have very easily said, hey, I just want to lose 40, 50 pounds because that'll make me feel better, right? That'll make me more confident. That'll make me, I'll be able to take off my shirt, right? But continue to dig deep until you get that true why, the thing that's really going to make it a non-negotiable. And you wake up in the morning, you go out there and you just are so excited to go and accomplish this goal because you've identified the goal, you've identified why we want the goal, and now you can go out there and get it and make that actual why come to fruition, right? Really make it something that is the focal point of what you're doing here, right? So that's number two is establishing why the goal is a non-negotiable, establishing that why, right? So from there, we've kind of done a lot of the mental stuff, right? We figured out the goal, we know exactly what we're going after, we got the strategy that's going to go along with that, and then two, we figured out why we even want this to happen in the first place, right? Why is this something that I want to get done? Why is this something I need to get done? Why is this so important in my life, right? So now we kind of like I said with 1B is figuring out that strategy, right? So we've established that strategy, we know what we're going to do. What are the first 14 days going to look like? Right? Because if we just say, hey, like I want to be in a calorie deficit, right? And you have no idea what that means, you've never tracked any calories before, you've never looked at macros before, right? What exactly is day one going to look like? What is day two going to look like? What are we going to try to be improving on? What are we going to be focused on, right? So, what is the first 14 and 28 days, respectively, going to be like, right? And what I mean by that is have some goals of what you want to do. So, for my clients in particular, I say, though, hey, first 14 days, what I want you to do is just track, right? Just go into the app that we have, the title training app, just track everything. Just start putting in your calories, your protein, your carbs, all that stuff, log in your food, and see where we fall in those first 14 days, right? Let's do about 2 weeks of just figuring out what are we even in the ballpark? Are we super under in calories? Are we super over in calories? Are we in the right ballpark? Let's just get that started, right? Let's log 12 out of the 14 days. That gives us some wiggle room to not be perfect, but still feel, again, inspired and motivated because I'm achieving things, right? So having that as a first 14-day goal. And then for me, right, again, as my coach as being the coach of title training, the back 14 days, right, or the within the first 28 days, right, I say, okay, now from day 15 to 28, I really want us to make sure that this is a non-negotiable. We are tracking every single day, right? If that's the strategy that we're employing, I want to make sure that we do 14 out of 14 days. Now, 14 out of 14 days doesn't mean I'm always going to hit my calories. I'm always going to hit my protein. I'm going to stay perfect within all my macros, right? There's reason here that we might not be perfect. And that's true for everybody across the journey, including myself as a coach, right? I'm not going to be perfect every single day for the rest of my life. But I can track all those days. And even on the days that I start off poorly, I can continue to make sure that I show up and I hold accountability and I make sure that I log it in, even though, in this scenario, my coach can see it and like, I don't want him to know that I went over this much, or I don't want her to know that I went over this much, or I'm this far under, or I'm this far away from my protein goal. But holding that accountability and getting that done, right? So whatever it is specifically for you and what you're doing, maybe it's not tracking. Maybe you're building a plate, right? And you want to be able to do that 12 out of 14 days, right? Or maybe 12 out of the 14 days you want to hit 2 meals a day, and the other two you're okay with hitting, two or less, right? And so things like that, just having an idea of what will make you successful in these first 14 days and successful in the back 14 days, right? In that first 28 days. What are those things going to look like so that again I can feel accomplished by hitting all 12 days and be like, perfect. Okay, I didn't hit 14, that's fine, but I hit my goal of 12 and I kept accountable on that. Now we go into these next, 14 days feeling accomplished versus if you don't really have anything, you're like, well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm doing okay, but I'm not really seeing results yet, and I don't really know whether I'm doing it correctly, right? We want to avoid that ambiguous feeling. We want to feel, yes, this is a strategy. Yes, I feel accomplished. Boom, let's go. I'm going in the right direction. I'm crushing it. And that kind of mindset is going to keep us motivated and not losing the motivation and starting to lean back into, maybe I'll just start over, right? Maybe I'll start over next month. Maybe I'll start. We want to avoid that, right? So from there, right, we talked about setting up these days, but now it's about, well, how am I talking to myself, right? Am I encouraging myself or am I becoming a hindrance to myself? And let me give you an example, right? If I start off my day and let's say I'm tracking calories, because again, for the most part, that's what I promote here, right? We do other things as well, but that's what we mostly promote. So if my strategy was tracking, right? The first day, right? I go in there and I start off poorly, right? I don't really hit my calories. I'm super, super high in calories and I'm really low in protein. I'm like, okay, you know, I could look at it and be a negative, right? Be someone who's a critique of what I'm doing and be like, oh my gosh, this is exactly why you don't do this. This is exactly why you don't track anything. You've never been good at it. You've never been, this is why we should have done something else. This is why, boom, 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 and start saying all these negative things, right? Versus the opposite of going, hey, look. Okay, you started off the day poorly, you didn't really get that much protein, that's fine. But I know that, Cam said here we can go and get this protein shake and I can drink that, right? It's not my favorite. It's not exactly what I would want to do on an ideal situation, but I can do that today. I can go ahead and eat this other thing that I've made in the past that is super high in protein. It's something that's okay at least, right? I feel pretty good about eating it, and then I'll still have some calories later on to be able to try to, make up some wiggle room there, right? And those are two different mindsets. They're still the same starting point, right? That I didn't start off the day great, and I'm a little upset with myself, but one is going to completely deteriorate our motivation and make us go downhill, right? And the other is going to keep us on point. So the verbiage that we speak to ourselves, the way that we talk to ourselves internally is super important on this journey because that's going to determine whether we continue on and we feel motivated and we feel accomplished and like, see, I told you, Cam, I knew you could do it. We start off the day strong, not that strong, but that's fine. We came back, we bounced back, we got it. Okay, day two, we're going to start off the day stronger so that we can continue on and do really well in the back half, right? Or man, I told you not to do this. This you don't even track the rest of the day, Kim. That you're worthless. You're not this. You're that. Right? And that verbiage can definitely bring down the motivation and make us feel like, man, like why am I even doing this? Right? So the way that we talk to ourselves, the way that we talk about ourselves, even the way that we talk about it to other people. If people know that you're on a fitness journey, right? You joined coaching, you posted about it, whatever, and people say, "Hey, how's like your fitness stuff going?" Even if you're not the most confident in it, I would definitely say go after it and be like, "Oh man, it's going great. I'm really, really doing well. I'm happy with it," right? Because the more that you say those things, the more that you're going to believe those things, right? And you're going to start to manifest it because if you tell someone, "Hey, I'm doing really, really well on my fitness journey," you're kind of doubling down on the fact that you need to get those results, right? That you need to start getting something that's tangible so they can go, oh, Cam wasn't lying. He really is doing well on his fitness journey, right? And so that means that we're kind of putting like kind of doubling up the ante, right? That okay, I really need to be on it now. So now I'm really going to continue to make sure that I show up and I hold accountability because I told that person that it's going really, really well. And now I also believe that this is going really, really well, right? I'm saying it out loud. I'm starting to manifest it and speak it into existence. So okay, let's do it. Now let's go after it, right? So our mentality, the way that we talk about ourselves, the way that we talk about our journey is very, very, very key and a big key to unlocking that door to being able to really walk through and reach our goals. Okay, so that's really, really important. Is the way that we talk about ourselves, the verbiage that we use about ourselves in our journey, and continuing to make sure that we keep positive self-talk. Make sure that that the way that you talk about yourself is positive, and that you're going in the right direction because that's going to keep the motivation, keep you inspired, keep you away from falling off your journey. Right. So, kind of going along with that, right? But it's slightly different. Is focus on what you're doing right and not what you're doing wrong. Okay, and this is very difficult to do in the beginning. I'll be 100% transparent because we're naturally due to our environment, the way that socially we talk about ourselves, the way we talk about different things. We're focused on the negative. We just really are. We're focused on how could this be better, right? How could this be, more improved and things like that, right? Which is good to an extent because you're pushing yourself. You're looking for ways to be able to advance, but at the same time, it needs to be positive critique, right? Not negative critique and just pushing ourselves down and telling ourselves, oh, this is exactly what I was talking about. I knew I would never be able to do it, right? And being positive with it. So focusing on the things that we're doing right, I think is just as important. So, for example, first week of a fitness journey, right? Let's say you're going to the gym 4 days a week, right? That's your goal. Okay, 4 days. I'm gonna go Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Sunday. Okay, let's do it. Go ahead. Boom. And we show up and we get Monday done and we get Wednesday done, and then Thursday and Friday are absolute chaos at work. Saturday we have a bunch of stuff going on, right? Because we had Friday set up as our workout day. So Saturday we didn't have any plans of going to the gym, and then Sunday, okay, we got it done, right? So I got 3 out of the 4 days done. So if I look at it from a negative standpoint, I only got 3 out of the 4. I only got 75%. That's a C in school. I'm not doing that well, right? Or you could be like, this is week one of the journey. For the last 6 weeks, I haven't gone to the gym at all. Right? I haven't even thought about going to the gym. I haven't even challenged myself to go to the gym. But I went to the gym. I went 3 out of 4 days, and I really pushed myself. I feel sore. I feel good about it. Okay, this next week, I'm gonna go for 4 of 4. And if I don't get it, that's fine because I still did 3 or 2 or whatever it ended up coming out to be. And that continues to mean that I'm doing more than what I was doing before. So that's what I'm talking about is that it's not necessarily giving yourself an out and saying, like, oh, well, I did 3. Okay, I'll just do 3 next week and then 2 the week after that and then 1 and then I'll go back to 0. No, I'm not saying that. Of course, we need to hold accountability and we need to make sure this is something that's important to us and that we're striving to do better. But by focusing on the fact that maybe the last 6 weeks you weren't going to the gym at all, you weren't even walking, you weren't even thinking about it, you were going to work, coming back, sitting on the couch, bag of potato chips, boom, those kind of things. we're going in the right direction. So if it takes us 3 or 4 weeks to get into a rhythm of being able to go all 4 days, right? Or maybe we even have to adjust our strategy and be like, okay, look, I was going to go 4 days a week, but now that I've really seen it, Friday is a no-go for me. Like I really can't. I've tried to go Thursday, it's too hard. So, you know what? Let's just do 3 for right now. And maybe further on down the road when this project is done or whatever, I can actually go 4 days a week then, and I'm gonna make that happen. But I want to go 3 days a week and still and feel accomplished and positive about that versus just giving up and not doing any at all, right? And giving up on my fitness journey entirely, right? So that's what I'm talking about is that we want to focus on what we're doing right, not what we're doing wrong, and then be able to give ourselves some flexibility. Because I guarantee you, the things that you think I have to do for, I gotta be, if my calorie goal is 2,200 calories, I gotta stay to 2,200 calories. I can't do 2,190 and I can't do 2,110. Like, nothing with fitness is that rigid. Okay, you can be able to move things around and get to your goals regardless and still make sure that you are successful. But you got to be reasonable with yourself and you got to keep the motivation and the inspiration up, right? Which feeling accomplished is going to help with that. So focus on what you're doing right, not what you're doing wrong. Okay. Number 6 on this is going to be having accountability systems. Okay. And obviously, the one that I promote, it just makes the most sense is actually having a coach, right? And the reason why I say that it makes the most sense is because you have someone who, again, because you're paying, it's now a job, they're not going to become flip-floppy like maybe a friend is, or maybe a coworker is, or maybe your cousin, your brother-in-law, whatever, who just they have their own lives. They're not committed to your fitness journey like that. So if they have stuff come up in life or they don't feel like going to the gym or this, that, and the other, or sending a picture of their nutrition or whatever you guys have as an accountability system, they just won't do it. And then you're on your own and then you're back to square one and maybe you fall off that journey, right? So there's nothing wrong with having those accountability systems. I don't want to knock those. I'm just saying that having that commitment, putting some financial, putting your money where your mouth is, I guess is the best way to say it, is making sure that one, you have someone who's going to remain consistent, and two, you're actually going to have that accountability system show up regardless of how you're feeling, what's going on, right? Because regardless of what's going on in my life, I'm showing up for my clients 110% because one, I truly care about them, and two, we signed up on this contract together. We committed to this together financially and emotionally and physically. Like we signed this piece of paper and said, hey, we're doing this, right? So there is much more at stake for the person who's holding you accountable when it's a coach versus when it's just your friend who's doing something nice and they want to lose some weight, but if I don't really lose it, it's no big deal, right? So having something in place is key. I would definitely promote a coach of some sort, but it could also be alarms on your phone, right? That could be in a good accountability system. Like if you're having problems eating your breakfast and lunch and dinner, right? You end up getting to the end of the day and like, man, I didn't eat anything. An accountability system can be that timer going off at 9:30 a.m., right? Oh shoot, I forgot I have to eat. Okay, let me go and do something, right? Things like that that are like reminders, but also accountability systems that you should do it, right? Setting something up like that, getting apps that maybe notify you about it, right? Even being part of like Fitbit communities or Apple Watch communities and things like that, right? That you can be, with friends, be with other people that it doesn't really matter whether need to show up somewhere. It's connected here. It's going to send off to them, and then they're going to be like, oh, dang, like so and so's out there crushing it with their steps. I need to go and get mine in too because I just saw it pop up on my watch that they're doing well. I need to go ahead and do it, right? So there's different ways of accountability, and not all of them have to be something where you put money on the line for. I just feel like again, it makes sure that there's not going to be as many obstacles or chances of that falling through with someone that you're paying that's a coach that truly knows what they're doing as well, right? They're a professional and they're making sure that they're holding you accountable and really, really caring about your journey, right? So that's number 6 is having that accountability system and whatever works for you with your situation, with your lifestyle, with what's going on is the one that you should do. Okay. That's what I would recommend. Do the one that makes the most sense for your lifestyle that you're going to be able to stay consistent with, that you're going to be able to continue up with, and make sure that you can continue to have that accountability in your corner until it becomes part of your lifestyle and you don't really need it anymore, right? Because at some point it will, and then you'll just be able to do this stuff because you truly love the results, you have the energy for it, and you feel good when you go and do it, right? So those kind of things. And then the last one. This is probably the most important one, okay? The last one here is probably the most important one, and it's believing in yourself. And the reason why I say that is because so often people will get the strategy in hand, they'll know what their goal is, they'll know why this is so important, but they don't believe that they can get it done. They feel like they've gone through this journey way too many times before, and even sometimes that they're scared to actually go after it again because if I'm wrong again, can't deal with that reality. Like I cannot deal with the reality that this strategy is proven. I see people getting the results. I see Cam in my corner. I see this, that, and the other. And then if I don't get the results, then that means it's me, right? That means that I'm the problem. So no, 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 no. I'm just gonna self-sabotage. I'm gonna make sure that I don't have that opportunity and I can blame it on something else, right? So by truly buying in and believing in yourself and saying, no, I can do this. You know why? Because I showed up to, to go over what my goal is. I showed up and I committed to myself on why this is so important, why it's a non-negotiable. I set up those 14 and 28 day goals. If I wasn't serious about this, if I couldn't get this done, I wouldn't spend the time setting that up, right? Having my goals, having something that's realistic, having something that's going to work, right? I've changed the way that I talk about myself. I talk about myself positively. I know that I can do this because if I can change the way that I talk about myself, if I change the way that I talk about this to other people, I know that I can get this done, right? I'm focusing on what's positive, what I'm doing right, not what's going wrong. And for that reason, this is another way of showing myself I can do this. If I can do all five of these things, I can for sure believe that I can get this done and go out there and manifest it and get it done. And I got an accountability system, right? I got a coach in my corner. I got my friends. I got my Fitbit. I got the community, right? I got this people in my corner that truly care about me. And if they believe in me, then why shouldn't I believe in me? Right? If they all see my value and they see that I can do this and they know I can do this, then I can absolutely believe that I can do this, right? And so, again, using things to our advantage, using them to hype ourselves up, using them to continue to keep that motivation, keeping us on the money and keeping us going is super key and is going to keep that motivation high. So I get it. Motivation comes, goes. It feels like I'm not ready to start because I don't have the motivation. But I promise you, you can do this. And with these 7 steps, you can get it done. Okay. So establish that goal. Understand truly what the goal that you want to achieve is and not something vague. Understand why you want that goal. Why is this a non negotiable? Why is it such something deep down inside of me I need to accomplish? And make sure you get real deep with that. Establish what the first 14 and 28 days are going to look like. What are you going to hold yourself to? What is going to make sure that you feel accomplished and continue on, right? From there, what is the verbiage I'm using about myself? Am I using positive self talk? Am I making sure that I'm letting other people know I'm doing well, right? Am I doing the right things to keep myself positive? Focusing on what's going right and not what's going wrong. Don't be a negative Nancy. You can do this. I promise you. Focus on the positive, focus on what's going right, and you'll feel so much more accomplished and ready to go. Have accountability systems, friends, Facebook group, Fitbit groups, right? Whatever it is, but something that some people that are holding you accountable and making sure that they show up so that you, number seven, can believe in yourself, right? They believe in you, you believe in yourself. There's all these reasons here why you've been able to get it done. Go after it and get it done. Thank you guys so much for showing up for episode 2 of Fit Life for Busy Parents podcast. I truly, truly do, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate you for listening, leaving likes, sharing with friends, really commenting what you guys are thinking about these strategies and about the staying motivated, so on and so forth. It really does mean so much to me from the bottom of my heart. And I love this podcast style, right? The YouTube and everything, because of the fact that it's really allowing all of us to come together and have this positive message and really being able to have our fitness journey, enjoy the journey, be making sure that this is something that allows us to stay on track, right? Allows us to have this not only be accomplished, but something that we keep for the rest of our lives, right? Not just lose the weight for the time being and gain it back, but truly, truly in our heart of hearts, keep it for the rest of our lives, have a strategy that makes sense for us and really go out there and live the lifestyle that we want. We will be having another episode next week. Stay tuned to hear about it. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all that good stuff. It's flexcam_91. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/title T1DIAL, which stands for Turn One Day Into a Lifestyle. And guys, that is the end of episode 2. That's a wrap. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Go out there and turn one day into a lifestyle. Fit Life for Busy Parents podcast. We can do this. Doesn't matter how much we have going on. We have the capacity to get it done. Have an amazing week, y'all. Talk to you soon.